Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you guys are. Welcome to this session. Today is a very special day. As you might know, it's the 11th anniversary of BitMEX. We are the OG exchange, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have one of the 11 legends with us. So, if I were you, I will stay with us for a couple of reasons. The first one is that there will be prices. There will be more than $1,000 in prices. So, you know, if you want to get some of that, please stay with us. And the second and the most important reason, in my opinion, is that our guest, as I mentioned, is very special and he is a very good trader. So he will be conducting this session. He will be sharing some of his trading tips and some of his insights about the market. And I don't know if he admits publicly, but he's a profitable trader. So perhaps if you are not, perhaps after staying with us, you might become one. So without further delay, I will give the stage to our very good friend, Mr. Mufa. How are you? First of all, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being with us. The stage is yours, man. Enjoy.
Thank you for having me, Juan. I hope everything's working good on your end. I'm happy to be here. Happy birthday, BitMEX. BitMEX has helped me immensely throughout my career, so I'm happy to be here. I have kind of a imposter syndrome with the legend status, but I guess I will take it. First of all, I will say my name because I know many people don't know me. I'm Matias. People call me Mufa. I was born and bred in Buenos Aires. In the Buenos Aires internet culture, I said, and I have a bit of a backstory. So before I even touched the chart, I was big in the battle rap game. I founded El Quinto Escalón, which was the biggest Spanish-speaking rap battle project ever. So stadium shows, millions of viewers, chaos, precision, pressure, and that's kind of where my operating system was built. So I was running massive productions, directing teams, shipped a lot of stuff that don't get second takes. So I did a lot of competitive gaming too, and I think that's where most of my great and thought process comes from. Um, I'm also Argentinian, so we grew up negotiating with chaos and having like a lot of problems with our own currency. So Bitcoin made sense for me and also a bunch of other people here, and it felt like home. Uh, I started trading on the 2020 cycle in the midst of the pandemic. I learned futures live. I watch a lot of Twitch, like trying to find some alpha for trading because I sucked so bad, and every mistake is costly, you know. So there I was trading my first account, obviously getting liquidated left and right, and then I met Luke and Sam from Teal Street with and a bunch of other traders from their community, their beautiful community, and I watched Sam trade like huge size live on Twitch, and I decided to like try and do the same, obviously with a very small balance, but I was very intrigued by the process of trading live. You know, there's so much information about trading on internet, and most of it is pretty shitty. Aside from some videos from CryptoCred or some hidden jewels, there's pretty much an obscure way of approaching trading. So I decided to like teach my own community how to trade because I had all this background from the rap battles and from the gaming scene, and I was like, all these people really know how to compete, so I might as well try to teach them how to trade. And since I was learning too, I was like turning on my stream and trying to share my thought process while I was learning. 4 years later, sorry, here we are, which is kind of a crazy milestone. I'm one of the biggest BitMEX drivers in Latin America, and I push that growth, teaching my community, sharing what I know, producing, you know, a daily content, I'm trying to share the process. For the 11th birthday of 11th anniversary of BitMEX, they picked 11 traders who have shaped their platform growth, and I happen to be one of them. I'm very proud. This is a trophy, and I'm thankful, and a big checkpoint in a big, long road. So yeah, and we also gonna be doing like a huge giveaway, as Juan said, of 10,000 BitMEX dollars, which is like more than $1,000. So feel free to jump in the chat, ask me questions. What we're gonna doing today is live trading with a lot of leverage, nothing too crazy, but just enough to feel the heartbeat. I will talk through entries, invalidation, risk, and why I pull the trigger when I do. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, you will see it. And if I'm right, you will see why. So there's no performative stuff today. Also, we all know that forcing a trade is never ideal. It it kills your edge and spikes your odds of eating shit. But I will take a swing today for the sake of the show. I usually wait for the market to come to me, but today I'm bending that rule a bit so we can see the process live. We're obviously gonna be trading on BitMEX, where perpetual swaps were born. I really like BitMEX, so I will just pull my screen if I find the right button to do so. I think this is right. Yeah. So for the next hour, I will be hanging here with you and trying to land a good trade. But first thing first, I I usually go like from the top down, So usual modus operandi of taking a trade here is usually taking a look at the daily, always in logarithmic, because if you go linear, the chart just looks very silly and it can ruin your technical analysis. I'm a technical analysis trader. I'm a price action trader. I don't uh, do much numbers, so to say, like projections on things like mining, hash rate, you name it. I usually just look at the chart, and that's something that I would like you to keep to yourselves too. Like that's a very good lesson I learned from Sam and Luke back then, which was we trade the charts. So most of the time I don't mind if we are on a bull market, if we are on a bear market, if we're sidelined. We just take a look at the chart and try to find an edge or something that we can leverage upon to make a trade. I usually do short trades. I don't hold the same perp position for days. I usually just enter and quit as quick as I can. Uh, but then again, before taking any trades, I would like to take a look at the chart. Everyone's pretty scared these last days. Sorry, I will maybe refresh the chart. I was switching timelines too quick. So this is the 1 hour chart for our beloved Bitcoin. There's some blood on the floor. There's a bunch of people who got liquidated here. This is, I think, one of the most important things these days to take into account. There was a huge nuke on October and then a downtrend, which looks very, very bad. So I'm usually a perma bull, which makes this PA for me like kind of difficult for me because I tend to long instead of shorting. There's people who are way more flexible in terms of directionality, but I find myself trading longs and also doing this a lot. Like since I'm good at longs and I suck at shorts, I usually do alt plus Y, and you can flip the chart. This is a silly trick, but it works more often than you think. So for people like me who are like believers and also perma bulls, flipping the chart is also good because you can take a little bit of perspective in terms of would I take this long, even if it's a short. So that being said, we're on a tricky part here. What I would normally do is try to connect the highs. This is always a good practice, just to get a better feeling of the trend, trying to connect the lows too. It's a point of debate. Many people would or would not include this huge wick. I actually would. So I will do something like this. We could say we're like on a downwards channel going down, but I wanted to take a look at the like from farther. I know, yeah. So few key things for me here is first you want to find your levels, your important levels of action. This is where price usually rebounds or where you see a lot of these nasty wicks. This is usually reversal. This is usually like it works like a spring, so to say. Um, and it's very useful to try and find the places where the price is most likely to turn around. So, for example, we can see here that after a bunch of volatility, price is like ranging here, but it's also making huge wicks on the top and on the bottom side of the channel. So this is important information for us usually because we can basically extrapolate that towards the future. And you will find more often than not that these levels tend to be very not only important but also like a point of reactivity in the price. I would say these are the two key levels on the low time frame, like daily and so on. Another key level is this, I think, like this upper side of the range back in March is now the bottom of the range during like May. So we might as well also put this little box to symbolize our key levels. So that being said, there's a few things we can do and act. Again, forcing a trade is not good, but we were gonna do it for the sake of the show and to celebrate BitMEX anniversary, which is always a fun thing to do. So that being said, I will change the color here. Yeah. Again, now with all this new information that we gathered, taking a look at the bigger timeframes, we can now start to think on a trade. There's two things here, or at least how I see it, there's like two main things that could happen here. The first thing is, so we have this downtrend, this trend line, which is like making pokes at the train line, but not quite breaking it. And then another thing to note is like this is our high, this is a lower high, this is a lower high, and this is a lower high. But then we're starting to form like a higher high, which is kind of an interesting point for us to maybe punt along here to try to catch a move from 93 to something like 100. Obviously, this will take many days to concrete, but maybe, and just maybe, this is like a good opportunity for us to try to catch a little bit of movement since it's like holding on the key level and also on the brink of a breakout. This for me makes like a very usual setup, which is counter trend long, which tries to leverage on the fact that this trend line is about to get broken or not. Another possibility is that this is like a bait for all our fellow permabulls, and this just goes and then just does this. This is obviously another chance for a short. Let's say you're bearish. You're saying, hey, this is like bouncing on the trend line. This is gonna continue going down. Maybe look for this low. This could be another operation possible. This could be a possible short. So I'm very respectful. I don't think there's one way to approach the market. I was also taking a look at the different legends because I'm thrilled to be there, and I'm like nerding all around the website and taking a look at the advice everyone gave. For example, the number one legend, Arthur Hayes himself, said something like, "Don't pay any attention to the price action if your thesis is still standing." And I think that's like okay, and it works. That doesn't mean there can be a bunch of different and other ways to try to take advantage of a market like this. So that being said, I think we are looking pretty good here to take a long. So that's my bet today. We're kind of soft gambling today, but my expectation is that we don't break this key level. It serves us as a trampoline. Is that the word in English? Um, and then we might be able to catch a little movement, maybe something like this. Seems, woof, seems big, but maybe something like this. Maybe trying to find another key level, like a smaller key level, which could be something like this. And we could draw a little box here to just remember that that is an important level. I will try to do it again. Okay. So at this point, you're looking for an entry. And at this point, you're trying to go a little bit closer in the timeframes. So this is kind of my thought process when doing any trade. Now I'm trying to find in a lower time frame setting, I'm trying to understand where's the range forming, what's the price action doing exactly. And what I can say right now is that, first of all, this is like very inefficient downtrend movement. This is a very inefficient upside movement. So this leaves a window for like maybe revisiting this zone again, which I don't like a lot, like as an idea, but it could happen. So this could melt, lose this level, and then go down. And I would say my invalidation for this long would be losing this level. That helps us make decisions and trying to bring the trade to life, mainly trying to discern, firstly, where's your target, where's your invalidation for this exact idea, and just don't take it too hard if you're wrong, you know? So at this point, I will try to start building a position. Since I'm thinking this could pump rather quickly, I will just shoot a market, a 0.2, 0.2 Bitcoin position. Let's just smash a market buy, bam. And we're in. This means, sorry, this means a bunch of things. Now you can see my position down here on the BitMEX UI. And now we wait. Few interesting things to note. Since I have a 2K balance and almost 20K position size, I'm like 10x leverage at this point. And based on my own trading system, I do not recommend this to do this in your homes. If and only if the price action starts to confirm my thesis, I will try to add more at this part. Let's see how that works. And meanwhile, I will run very quickly another tab. Here I will need some on the production. I'm gonna stop sharing for a little bit. Share this other screen that I have here. I wanted to show you this. Again. So while we are longed, I have to tell you this. There's more like 5 in this month for the next. There's a bunch. This all army of trade BitMEX trying to farm, grind this reward pool. There's prices for people who for whoa or ROI. Everyone has the ability to get a little bit of the price pool. There's also like a refer to earn campaign. So if you love BitMEX and you want to invite 10 friends, you all share like a 50K USDT pool, which is huge. Well, this is running till the 15th of December. BitMEX competitions are great. I usually participate in each and every one because if you're active and you're like trying to get better, it's basically free money. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it's definitely free money. So incentives, play, guilds, any kind of mission you get on the upper side of the website, you check it out because it's usually super easy to farm for us traders. And you don't know how much people like miss on this kind of stuff just for not taking a look at it. But yeah, again, the link should be in the chat now. It's Legends Showdown. You have all the data, information, the conditions, and all the frequently asked questions, so you can like understand the structure, the price structure better. It's very generous, that I would say. Now back to our trade. I will stop sharing here and go back to my beloved long. Let's see how it's going. It's going bad. Well, it's too early to judge, honestly. What we know right away is that there's some kind of resistance happening here, and there's also like a retest of this area. This is like a deviation, but again, you see how this level seems to be quite important. So losing this level would be very bad for us. Using this as a trampoline to go up and try to break this zone would be very good for us. And it doesn't matter if the trend reverses. We don't care if a huge bull market is coming. We just care about like this small movement. If this movement happens, we'll be exiting the position around this area and moving our stops probably to break even and just letting it ride. But for now, something I didn't do, and you should do always, is put your stops in place, because you never know. As I was saying, like on October, there was a huge, massive liquidation event because in like 15 minutes, the price dropped like 20-30% in pretty much every coin. And you're just not ready for that ever. So I will set my stop loss just hovering here and clicking, dragging the SL button, and I will put it on my invalidation, which is around here. As we said, there's a confirmation. Yep. And this is now our stop. You should never, never, ever use your
Sorry,
liquidation
Mufa,
as a stop loss.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. Your screen is not showing your chart. Can you click on sharing again? We have an
Yeah, sure.
click on
Oh,
sharing.
I was making just a bunch of
Hold
drawings.
on.
Yeah. Let me know
Okay,
if it works now.
here we go. We are good now. You can
Yeah. No, perfect. So what I was saying is that uh, there's definitely enough evidence for us to confirm this is an important level. So this is a level we don't want to lose. Especially this is a level we don't want to lose. Again, this is the top side of our like small triangle range, whatever you call it. And I will demonstrate again how to set up your stops, because I think many people don't use them. So this is my liquidation. We never want to go here. It's unfair. It's ugly. You get wrecked. You don't want that. So always drag this little SL button towards the point where your invalidation is. We're going for a very loose invalidation, probably gonna close manually if it looks too bad. But as I was saying, you never know what the next minute has for you in the market. So you might as well put a tight stop or a loose stop like this one. A tight stop would be probably around here. But yeah, we aren't really picky around our entries. This is something I would like to confess. Like, I don't try to snipe the perfect entry every time. I just try to enter the trade in a zone where I feel uh it's sensible, it's okay, it makes sense, it makes sense. But there's obviously people that would try to snipe the lower part of the wick of the candle. I found myself too many times just like looking the price go in the direction I thought, without being able to jump in, just because I was trying to get that perfect entry. And many times it just don't matter if you don't mind being a few minutes underwater. But again, this is not financial advice. I mean, every person has a very personal edge. Sorry for the redundancy, but every person has like a very personal style of approaching things, of approaching risk, of trying to, oh, a bee just enter my home. So I try, first of all, not to judge any other people's strategy, but I also know my limits, and I know like where do I shine and where I do not. So I stopped trying to snipe the best entries ever, and I just where I find the level is okay for my thesis to go with it, I just roll with it. Um, so yeah, we now have a zero point 0.2 Bitcoin position going on with a 2K balance. We're very we're paying a lot of attention to this very zone mark in yellow, because if this breaks down, chances are we're gonna revisit this FVG and it's gonna get ugly and whatever. For now, we would want this zone to hold, and for that, we just have to wait. There's an old saying in Argentina from our grandmothers who said, if you look at the boiling water for your spaghetti, it doesn't boil. So we might as well just take a breather and maybe answer some questions. I think we have a minute here to maybe start doing some questions, and also start to give some pretty presents to our audience. What do you think, Juan?
It sounds very well. So let's explain the audience how we are going to give out 10,000 BMX tokens. So that's
Yeah,
for 5 people. So that's 2,000 BMX for each person. That's around $250 for each person. All right. So not
not
bad.
too shabby, huh?
Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, we are very generous today. It's a special day, so
Yeah.
we have to do it. Yeah. So yeah, in order to participate, you guys just have to throw a question on our chat, okay, with your BitMEX UID. Okay, so you need to be a verified BitMEX user. So together with your BitMEX UID, you throw your question on the chat, can be on YouTube or X, and then we will select 5 questions along the live stream. Okay, we will start with one first, and those 5 questions that we select, the person who asked those questions, we will give around $250 to each of them. Okay, so go for it, guys. You can throw your questions, and we will start selecting the first one.
Yes, sir. I will be glad to share my thoughts on any question too. I'm trying to get to the chats. So there's so many chats. We're live at my Twitch channel too and my X account. So there's like 5 channels to check out.
Okay.
And as Juan said, it's the better way to do this is just throw your question and don't forget to put your BitMEX UID, which is on your profile, so they can send you the money, man, because you have to prove yourself as a BitMEXer.
Yeah, guys, remember to put your big mess UID. Otherwise, we cannot give you the price. Okay, we cannot. I mean, like I'm seeing already a lot of questions here, but no one is putting in their UID. So you see, maybe the
No, you
first one.
have to put your UID.
Okay, let's go with the first one. I
Yeah,
think
Sabir was waiting this stream for days. I talked to him like yesterday. He was very very
excited.
enthusiastic.
Okay, so let's go for his question first.
Yeah.
So you can see Mufa, he's asking what is the fundamental catalyst driver supporting this technical setup?
Again, sorry.
What is the catalyst, fundamental or catalyst driver supporting this technical setup?
Yeah. So as I was mentioning, I'm not really. Uh, I would say as a trader, I don't pay that much attention. Sorry, to like the general trend of a given moment in the market. Let's say some people would argue that we're now on a bear market and the big correction started and whatnot. I find myself doing more mistakes when I listen to that people. Like everyone has a stance. Everyone thinks a technical, fundamental thesis to support the trades, but ultimately, I think you have to be flexible enough to, first of all, consider yourself wrong at many times, and also I think a very good quality of a trader is like being able to change bias at, at an enough at a reasonable speed, just so you don't get like stuck on a view of a market that could be changing right as you are seeing it. So I would say my like structural thesis, I'm a permabull. I think Bitcoin is an invention that's here to stay. We don't know how crypto is going to look like in 10 years, but we know almost for sure that uh, it's going to be present in our day-to-day life. So my thesis is as simple as that. I just take for granted that the invention is good enough to endure the test of time. So I'm a permabull. That being said, there's corrections, there's impulses, there's tricky price action, and you have to be like on your feet all the time. But uh, again, we're taking along in a very aggressive downtrend. So I would say I don't care as much as other traders on like the bigger scope of technical or fundamental analysis towards it. I would say I'm a price action trader. I just look at the chart and see if there's an opportunity for me, and I try to take it. And I, as I said, you can fail, and if I fail today, it's going to be very transparent. It's like being a trader is like this also.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm not a good trader because I haven't changed my bias with Ethereum for the last 5 years. I'm still holding and trapped with with Ethereum. So
Many such cases. I confess I don't hold any coins. So there's like two big schools of thinking. There's one school that says, like you have to be a diamond hand. You never sell. You just buy more, and not necessarily just with Bitcoin. There's people just stacking. No, Trump, Pepe, you name it. There's a bunch of different approaches to it. I personally don't hold anything. I don't like back holding, and I think, well, that's the main reason I do futures. I like to be liquid. I like to enter and exit the market when I want to, and not depend on third parties to be able to like manage unstake. All these different tricks you have to do to cash out of a given environment. That's also why I use BitMEX, because since I love futures, I think BitMEX is the most legit futures platform out there. So that's why I'm here, and why I've been building with them for the last years. I like to be liquid, and I like to trust my liquidity to a good provider like BitMEX.
good, good. Thanks for that. So Sabir Ahmed, you will receive your tokens, okay? Those 2000 BMX
Let's
token.
go. He
Mufa,
will be happy. He was very very intense wanting to participate last days.
that's good. Should we go for the next question, Mufa, or
Yeah,
it's
sure,
okay?
sure. At this point, we're like waiting. We could be like stopped out in 2 minutes, or we can just start rolling. But at this point, we have to wait, and just looking at it won't make it any better.
Okay. I
So yeah,
think
sure.
I think I'll get one which probably a lot of people wonder, especially when if you're starting trading. This is Quant Trader is asking, what's your average risk per trade right now as a percentage of total capital, and how
That's a
has
very good
that
question.
changed over time?
That's a very, very, very good question that often gets, I often get. And my answer, I would say my answer changed along my journey. So, first thing first, there's like a common saying that you should risk 1% of your account per trade. I definitely don't do that at all. There's a very, very, very good risk management video from CryptoCred that touches this topic, and I really recommend it because there's like ancient knowledge on the markets that usually goes related to stocks and to a very specific profile of trader who wants to make like a passive income out of their inactive money, so to say. Uh, our case is very different. We're way more aggressive towards the market, um, and we ought to take more risks and more chances. So that being said, I would say when I started, my risk limit was like 2% per trade, maybe. Then it went to like 5% a trade, and then I started to go very degen on it. Like since my when I hit along, like I was maybe duplicating or triplicating my account. I was basically a degen. So I was like, okay, I can lose 10% or 15% of my account if my next win is going to be like 100% plus. Turns out that is not a good idea also. So as a short answer, I would say in crypto, assigning something like 5% risk of your whole account per trade is kind of okay. I wouldn't take less risk because at that point, I feel like you're not like juicing the thing enough. We're talking about one of the most liquid markets, or it depends on the day, but one of the most liquid and active markets 24/7, tons of volatility. So I think I would rather do many trades with 3, 4, 5% risk than just trying to nail it a super long with risking it all, you know. So it depends on the trader. It depends on the time of the market because, for example, I wouldn't risk much money on this kind of price action. Let's go a little bit further in the chart. So let me hide everything. Yeah. So this is a market that's very volatile. This is like a 17% candle in like 2 hours. You can't trust these guys. So you don't want to get stopped for like half of your account here. Uh, but you don't want to be stopped for 1% either, because if you just lose 1%, you're up to win what, like 1, 2, 3% of your account. It really depends on the background, the capital size of each person, and the expectations. Something that I really took to my heart when Sam told me this back in the days was like, you have to be very honest with your own expectations. So if you're here to kill it, man, you should go for it. But if you want to survive, which is probably the best thing you can do, you should just stick to a rule set, build and refine that rule set based on your own behavior and not others, and try to find that perfect risk ratio for your trades. That's my 2 cents here. But again, it's a very personal question. I know friends that risk very little and do just well, and I know degens that go all in and get wrecked, and also degens that go all in and they know their shit and that they have the skill to just pull that off. It depends. I would say less than 2 or 3% is kind of a waste of time if you're doing crypto. You're better off doing stocks maybe. But yeah, it's very personal.
Yeah, man. We, we are the ends here. We are not here to waste our time, man. If we want to, if we go to,
Yeah,
we go to buy
I
the
mean,
government.
if you're looking for a 2, 3, 4% profit kind of structure, there's a lot of stuff you can do on TradFi. There's bonds. There's even on crypto. You have like yields, DeFi. There's all this stuff to just make like passive profit of a fixed amount of capital. But this is not the game I play. I'm usually quite aggressive on my entries, on my risk, and also like on the volume I do. But it really depends. It's a very good question. Hope this helps. I know I feel like I haven't like responded properly, but it really depends, and I don't want to give shitty advice. I would rather say my own truth than you know give this image of successful trader and whatnot. We all have different quirks, different ways to look at the market, and it's a fun game of also like trying to find other people who don't think the same way as you do and try to calibrate your own bias, listening to the right people, but also trying to find your own compass to navigate all this complexity. Yeah.
Good. Let me. We had some technical. Oh, okay. Here we go. We are good now. Okay. So, shall we go for the next question?
Yeah, sure, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. So I've got here Funky Town Vibes asking if you enter a trade and it does not go in your favor for the first 90 minutes, so it consolidates. Do you wait for exit said trade? So let's talk about different time frames. Okay, let's say the trade, if the price don't move, okay, for a long time, depending on which is your time frame. Do you exit or when do you make a decision to give up with the trade or not?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I'm big on journaling and trading rules. I have my own journal, which I can share in a bit. I can show like how it works because it was really useful for me. Um, and inside that journal, I have my own trading rules. I don't have a time-based trading rule, but I know many people that do. And truth is, most often than not, if the trades takes more than 90, like 2, 3, 4 hours, and it just doesn't go your way, it's most often better to just jump out and reassess because when you're exposed to a position, you can't think clearly, and that's the truth. You have your own bias just by being there. It's like the sunken cost fallacy. You say, hey, I already opened my position, it could reverse, it could work. But the truth is, having time constraints for your own trades is not a bad idea. It's actually a very good idea. Another piece of advice that I just remembered that it's very good, and I think it's happening to us right now, is if your entry works like a resistance, is probably a shitty trade. This is a piece of advice I really like, and I usually pay attention to it because, for example, I think we have been here for a few minutes, but I think we enter like around here, so it started to reject us just on our entry. This is usually a bad signal, but since we are like in a very compressed kind of price action, I'm still rolling with it for a bit more. But yeah, both timing validations and things like this common gossip, like if your entry acts like a resistance, it's getting weird. That's good advice generally.
Yep, yep. Let's see how this trade goes. Let's see.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not looking good, but I'm still okay. I mean, let's go to a 15-minute chart. It's obviously a point of resistance. I'm obviously expecting this to like chop a little bit, even like maybe dip inside our box. What That's why I have our own invalidation like here, because it would mean losing all these levels, especially these parts. But yeah, I'm expecting a little bit of a chop. We're also on with we have a market open. This is something I'm not used to. Like I don't usually trade during the New York session. So this is a fun one for me. It's a new one, but I'm expecting this to do like a little like triangle of some sort. Maybe bother some people down here, but I'm definitely expecting this to at least tap the upper part of our trend line. Yeah, let's see how it goes. It could fail.
Okay, let's see. So we've got three winners so far. Okay, guys, remember. So
Yo.
each of the winners will get 2,000 BMEX token, which is around $250. So far, Sabir, Ahmed, Quant Trader, Funky Town Bytes, you guys will receive your tokens. And
Yes.
let's go with the next question, which is a little bit related to something you mentioned just now about trading
Sure.
during the openings, right? So, fellow Flag, okay, fellow Flag is asking, my question is, how do you detect in real time that the market has entered a new volatility regime? And how do you adapt your positions to that? Okay, so one of these, when you're trading, the market is kind of fine and it suddenly starts moving very quickly, for example. I think this is what he means.
Yeah. He's a fellow Argentinian too. Cheers. So yeah, volatility is something that, in my opinion, comes very tightly connected with compression. There's always exceptions, like this huge week we just visited on October. Um, so what you usually get before a big moment of volatility is a big moment of compression. Maybe I can do a quick example here. Um, for example, let me let the chart load for a bit. So you would usually let me. I don't want to like mess up all the lines I made, but I will try to make just a quick example. So let's say the market is boring, like this part, and you will start to see how the price like makes a high, makes a low, but then makes a lower high, and then makes a higher low, and it's like starts to compress and compressing until it does something crazy like this. So this works on a fractal fashion. It works on the 4-hour chart, but also on the daily chart and so on. So if we go to the maybe daily, whoops, you'd see that before a movement of, for example, expansion or even down aggressive downtrend like this one, you would have like a moment of very visible compression. It can be in the form of a channel, which means people are buying and selling and compressing. And then you have like a very expansive move to whichever way it decides to go. This happens again here. Like you see compression, price stops moving, probably volume goes down, and then bam, movement. So I wouldn't say I go, oh, the volatility regime has changed, but rather, hey, there's quite a lot of compression. And so I should be careful in case a very volatile move happens. You can see it everywhere. Like if you pay attention here, you see like compression, and then decompression. Usually the decompression is inefficient, which leads to another movement that like liquidates people on the other side, and this is inefficient too. So it's like the market has this cyclical kind of feeling, which in my opinion is greatly based on inefficiencies first, which means price just going on away and not debating. I use in Spanish the terms talking. Like there's more or less talk on a given level. Let's say this is like a piece of talk. This is people trying to define the fair price of an asset. So they're buying and selling and trying to talk through a price. But then the price just goes ballistic. And this movement here is very what we could call inefficient. It's very one-sided. It's just no talk at all, no debate. It's just a huge gap. Price usually goes back to these levels to talk again. And this is a metaphor I use a lot when teaching. Like a market is just people talking about the optimal price of a given asset. So this is people talking, this is people not talking. And this generates like an inefficiency, an FBG. There's like a lot of ways to call it, but usually the price would revisit this zone in a later movement. And then again, if this price is very inefficient, this price movement is very inefficient, you will have like most probably again a thrust to go to that uh, part where they didn't talk about the price. Same goes for this ugly, huge candle. The price, looking better or not, is going back to the last point of talk. So they were talking about the price, then someone nuked, and then they go back to the last talking price, and they go, "Oh no, we have to go down." So they talk all the way down, and every time you see like an inefficient movement of the price, for example, this is partly why I'm long today. I'm seeing very inefficient moves, and I would say it would be appropriate for the price to at least go visit this zone. And this is how this trade is formulated, right? So we're waiting for this imbalance, this FBG, this inefficiency to be revisited to the last logical level of talk, which was this. So yeah, this is kind of my thought process when making a trade. Yeah, hope this helps. And not like I'm thinking many people will be more confused than when get got here before asking.
Now it
I'm
makes
sorry
sense,
if it's
and specifically these things that you mentioned, I find it quite interesting because in crypto, this repricing or inefficiencies are very extreme, right? I don't know what's the statistics, but I think 90% of the price movement happens in 10% of the time or something like that.
yeah,
Bitcoin is like,
exactly. And that's why I don't trade on New York with the New York Open, or there's people that just trade the New York Open. I usually trade during the Asia session, mainly because I'm a night owl, and partly because I like that it's a little bit less volatile and a little bit more predictable in terms of liquidity levels, key zones, and that's where I found my edge. Everyone can find their own edge on different settings. There's people that hear me say that I trade the Asia session, and they look at me like, "Who would do that?" Everyone finds an edge. It's up to you. It's up to like you have to practice a lot, journal a lot, and at some point stop and just take a look at your last 100 trades and try to take another layer of notes. So okay, I work better on triangle breakouts, I work better on trading at night. You can start to take all kinds of different metrics on your own performance, which is very interesting. I found out that I was more profitable at my night than at my like this is my midday approximately. So I stopped trading on middays and I just jump in the market when I feel like it on a good price action day, usually on an Asia session. Yeah, it's crazy.
hmm, yeah, interesting, very interesting. Okay, well, good. So we have four winners now. The last one on our list
Yes.
was Fellow Flag. How what do you think, Move, about the questions, the session we are having so far? I think,
Questions are great. I feel like there are so little spaces for debate. That's why I really loved the Teal Street community, and that's why I love the BitMEX troll box, which is a great chat experience with another trolls from around the world. Nothing to take too seriously, but again, it's sharing your views with another trader. Even if they don't agree with your views, it's always positive, it's always nutritive, and it should nurture your own growth uh, as a trader. Yeah, I love to hear your questions, and feel free to ping me on Twitter, on Twitch, on our Discord. We're always there to try and teach and share. And I don't like the word teach because there's so many ways to do this that it's really a very personal thing. But I find immense joy um, trying to help my viewers and my community do their first steps, their first trades. It's always very wholesome, and there's very little information, especially in Spanish. That's why I started doing what I do, because information in Spanish is very scarce, and it's the information that already is there is very bad. It's like people selling courses and whatnot and using like I don't know, AI catchwords, catchphrases, buzzwords, all this stuff just to trap people into techniques that do not lead anywhere usually. The best way is just to trade and iterate. That's why when the BitMEX crew asked me for advice for my legend card, I was like, do a journal, trade a lot, iterate, because at the end of the day, if you are if you're not paying attention to your own performance and to your own mistakes and to your own uh, hits also, you never come to the realization of, oh, okay, I'm better in this environment, I'm worse in this environment, I should trade more on this time zone, I should avoid this kind of stuff. For example, I hate ranges. I don't trade ranges at all. I suck. I lost so much money in trading ranges that I just don't do it anymore. But then one guy on our Discord, Cunio, I send a big hug to him. He's a beast at trading ranges. It's outrageous. Everyone's losing money, and the guy's just trading the ranges. And when the tendency goes wild, he usually doesn't perform as well. And that's just how everyone's like configured mentally to function, and that's probably something you can't change. Like you There's an old saying, you can't change people. Well, you can change small things, you can tweak, but you're going to be the same person ultimately. So work with what you have and try to find your own strengths while you journal and take notes on your own trading journey. That's my advice for this.
Very good.
Hope this
Yes.
helps.
Yeah, very important. I mean, because more retailers are trading by themselves, right? So if you don't record
Yeah,
all this, who's gonna control you, tell you what to do, what you're doing right and wrong? Impossible. Huh?
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. So let's go with our last question, guys.
sure.
Who will win the last $250? Let's see here. And okay,
Thank you
let's see.
everyone for the questions. There's so much questions. I love your enthusiasm.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that this is the best questions is subjective, guys. So I'm choosing the questions. Of course, it might
Let's
be very,
go.
very good questions. I don't get it, but now there are a lot coming through the chat. So I'm trying my best
Yeah, we're
here.
also going live from my Twitch channel, which is Mufa, Mufa. If you happen to have more questions or want to go delve deeper in a subject, I'm happy to do so. Just holler around on my Twitch any day.
Okay, great. So let's go with the last winner of the 200
Yep.
around $250, 2000 BMX token. Uh, SEC 1268 is asking. Okay, I think his question is very wrong. Okay, but I'll leave it for you to answer. The root of the question is wrong, but anyway, he's asking, how do you manage your emotions when this becomes your main job and it all depends on your mind and the market?
Well, that's the name of the game. Like clicking the red or the green button is very easy. Managing your emotions, it's not. It's just not. Um, I wouldn't say I have all my emotions solved by this point. I also like have bad days. I get angry sometimes. I get euphoric, which is the most dangerous of them all. Like getting euphoric and getting like overly happy about stuff is the most important thing to control. There's another rule we have internally, just as a joke, an inside joke in our Discord, which is the law of the screenshot. So when you're very happy about a position and you wanna like take a screenshot and share it to your friends, that's the exact point in time where you have to close the position or at least take like a huge chunk of profit, because by that time everyone's usually euphoric and that's probably the top. um, that's one of the reasons I cashed out lately. Like I'm pretty much sidelined lately the last months because I just realized I was euphoric. I was like doing too well, so I withdrew. It's like managing emotions, but also the good one, because one thinks that emotions are just the bad ones, like emotions, oh, fear, nervousness, anxiety, and whatnot. But emotions also include happiness, euphoria, wanting to share your success with others, bragging. All those things are also an indicator of your own mind state. So I recommend to pay attention to your own rules. If I let me show you real quick my, I will stop sharing for a bit and I will share again. This is my trading journal. So every trade I take on stream, I do it here and I log it. These are different accounts, all trading on BitMEX, by the way. But for example, this is an example of my journal. So I will have to change a little bit of windows, but I want to show you this. So I have the date, the coin, the status, the direction, the effective leverage, and the initial idea. The initial idea is, for example, looks something like this. Let me share again. Sorry about this mess, but this is very important. So the idea looked like this. So I take a trade, I set an invalidation, I set a take profit, I try to draw all my thoughts around the stuff, and then I write down a rather complex this description of my feelings and thesis for this specific trade. For example, this one says ETH BTC is reverting. ETH is showing relative force these days, and the thesis of this trade is that we are really needing like a huge candle that I think would be until this level, blah 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 blah. And then you have like follow-ups. So 1 hour in, I will have another screenshot. 2 hours in, I will have another screenshot. Alman thoughts. 4 hours in, I will have another screenshot and more thoughts. I'm not showing the images because it's gonna take too long to switch. But the thing is, journaling is just not. It's not just putting an image and saying, "Ah, I win, I lost." It's just taking seriously the work of like, okay, I took this trade. This is why I took it. This is 1 hour in. This is 2 hours in. This is 4 hours in. This is 6 hours in. This is the close, and so on and so forth. At this point, I have more than 100 trades logged in with this fashion, which helped me just a lot. So journaling, just to answer the question, journaling is the most important thing you can do for getting better, especially with emotions. This looks like shit. I would say it first. This really looks like shit. But we're gonna be strong for at least 5 more minutes in case it just do what we thought we would do, which is bouncing off this key level and then going for the trend line. That's our thesis today, but it can fail. We will see. I feel like we're in for a good one today. Thanks for all the commentaries on the different chats. I'm going over all the different tabs and taking a look at the different chats.
Although we lost the connection again, let me reset all
Oh
this.
shoot!
Yep, it's okay. We will.
Yeah, this
Okay,
looks
we
very
are
bad.
here. Well, shit happens sometimes. Sometimes happen live. Sometimes happen when you're not
You were
live. But
forewarned that
a
this
lot
could
of
happen. So
a lot
what I
of
was expecting to happen was like maybe finding some support here and like doing something like this and then shooting a startup. I still think this could happen, but the price action is telling us otherwise. So would be the very first important moment for our trade, which is the key level thesis right or not? So we're now about to find out. So if it bounces off these lows and these highs, we're good. If it breaks down violently, I might probably, like if I was alone, I would probably scale down or even close the position entirely. I still think we have some upside left, like maybe a little squeeze up, but the mechanics or the price action could be very nasty, like go down and then do this. It's really crazy. Like last days have been really, really violent, and I guess it takes a legend to trade this PA. But as I was saying, I don't. I'm not used to trade on this time zone, so anything could happen. Markets are still open, and you never know which kind of wicked, weird, new could nuke or pump the chart, and that's why I don't really like the New York session. But again, it's showing some force up around our box. Let's see what happens.
all right. So we have our five winners. I mentioned their names again: Sabir Ahmed, then Quant Trader C, Funky Tom Bites, Fellow Flag, and ESEC1268. So all of you will receive 2,000 BMX tokens, which is around $250. We will credit to your account in few days, 4 or 5 days. Okay, don't worry, you will receive it.
Yeah.
We have your
Also,
UIDs and your email address, so everything will be fine. Yep.
congratulations to all the winners. And also remember that if you stake a little bit of BMX, you get free withdrawals, which is something I really use. So I have a little bag of BMX staked on the platform because it gives me like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 5 free withdrawals a week or a day. Super useful stuff for us. Like we're moving between wallets, between networks, between layers. It's so confusing. So you might need to do some withdrawals and deposits, and the staking really helps with that.
Yeah, that's good. It also gives discount on fees, so yeah, that's a good idea to stake your remix.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are over an hour now, Mufa. I
Yeah. I
think
mean, this could go forever. I will probably leave this trade open. Let's do this. I will leave this trade open and I will tweet how how does it end. I will leave all the settings this way. Our stop will be at 89,500 and we will just roll with this one. If you want to know how it went, you have to go to my Twitter, which is MufasaMC, um, and I will see you there. It was very fun to do this. I could do this again anytime. Super fun.
it is. It is really fun. We should do this more often. Answer to the questions that people have is very interesting. I find it like a lot of the questions that people ask. I wonder. I ask myself sometimes. Again, sorry if I didn't select the best ones. Or like, they were very very good questions, a lot of them. But
Very good questions.
we
Yeah.
had to select five. Otherwise, we wouldn't have time to answer so many questions during the session. Yeah, thank you so much to everyone for being here. Mufa, I will leave the stage for you to say bye bye to
Yeah.
people, maybe to give an advice. Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate to have our BitMEX legend here live on a live stream. So
Thank you, guys. I am really appreciate all the efforts, and I really BitMEX really has a place in my heart. They really bet on me. We have a community that's enormous now, but only thanks to Luke and all the BitMEX team that really stood with me through the rough patches, through the boring phases of the market, and that's how you win. Basically, you survive, you stay there, you put in the work, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here, happy for the recognition, happy to be a BitMEX legend, along many other huge legends like Romano and Hayes. And yeah, I'm not here to preach. I'm here to trade and execute, to share my knowledge. So charts up, BTC on the deck, and get to work. Thank you so much for everything, and we'll see you around. You can find me on Twitter, MufaSMC. You can find me on Twitch, Mufa, MUFA. I'm pretty much everywhere. Thanks again, BitMEX, and it was a pleasure for me to be here today with you and with Juan and all the team. See you.